All right, guys, we're back at it here. I've been waiting to show you guys this. Kind of exciting. I guess I worked on several different options for bodies for this thing, and I really wanted a second gen body like Merica here. With having that Cummins hanging in this thing right here, that only makes sense. So it was kind of frustrating. I made some posts on some of the websites and stuff, and I really thought there'd be one of the old barefoot bodies, or Andy Hoffman would have one of his old nightmare bodies laying around, but it just seems in this sport that the bodies get broke and used up, and then they're just gone. And the mold is gone for the second gen Dodge body. So this right here is what we ended up with. I debated on this for a while. This is a 69 Dodge pickup truck body. There's none of these on a monster truck that I'm aware of. I called GTS Fiberglass, which have made a lot of bodies in the monster truck sport for years. And he said, man, I've only sold a couple of these to pulling truck guys. He said, he basically said that I'd be the only one that had one of these currently. And it's a Dodge, and that's obviously what I was after, so he convinced me on it. Now, he had to do a little bit of modifying to this thing, basically because the pulling truck bodies had doors that opened on them, and they got a full back cab, as you can see. I mean, back to the cab. So we're going to have to cut that out, but he fiberglassed it in all as one for me, so that it would work for this monster truck program. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done. The retro thing's kind of back in. It's definitely got a lot of character, kind of a chop top looking thing. We're gonna have to open the side window openings up there, but the doghouse is really cool. We get a wrap on it, and get some color on it, it'll definitely make the grill and everything pop. If you guys know where there's a second gen Dodge monster truck body or fiberglass body laying, feel free to comment. I definitely still keep the options open to maybe run one of them someday. Bedsides are laying down here by my puller. They're just kind of tucked out of the road for right now. Tailgate's laying back there. Got a bumper for the semi that needs to pull this thing down. Basically what's got to happen is we got to cut the back out of it. It's got to be 54 inches wide. And the reason it does is that those two bars up there at the top of the truck are 54 inches wide to the outside, so you got to cut that back approximately 54. You might be able to open it up just a little bit and get it to squeeze around it. But first thing is I'm going to cut the back of the cab there, and I already got marks made. Just got to try to follow them now. See, we set the cab up there just more for mock-up. I needed to get an idea about where it needed to go. So it is definitely not in its place. It's got to go at least 3 inches forward, probably close to 5 or 6. It needs to come down at least 3 inches. So I got to cut the rear out around the bars a little bit more. And we need to get this front cowl, I guess you'd call it, setting down, which it should as it comes forward. It should come down some. Now I'm going to drill those holes in, and then I'll probably use a die grinder and finish cutting up to the hole. I think I got it relatively close. Now I'm going to go around here on these windows, and I'm going to cut this outer line out, and then I would like to cut these windows out so there's some more visibility there too. We'll just see how it works out here. Did some hacking on this thing. Got the side windows cut out. They're all roughed in. Got some notches made on the rear here. Corey's going to help me set this thing up on there again. It takes a lot to mock these things up. So I don't know how guys that don't have help do it, or if they can even do it, but my dad just helped, so thanks to him. Corey helped. He's still helping, actually. We got it setting up there with some boards. Had to cut a few mounts off and whatnot that held the Ford body on. We're gonna adapt a few of the other mounts. Obviously have to make some of our own tabs. Had to cut up there at the top, massage around that a little bit to try to get it where we wanted it. But this thing has got so many lines that you look at it from one angle and you think you got it, and then you go to the other side or you twist something or whatever, and it just really messes with your mind. But we got it where it's pretty close. I need to bolt the cab on now, so we have something that's solid, that's not going to move, and then we can tweak the doghouse, make the mounts for it, and then we'll do the bed sides. We'll mess with the front bumper if we get time. Might not have time. Probably not that big a deal. It's not going to have a wrap on it for this first venture anyhow. We just want to try to make it complete and get it out. Maybe get excited about it again. It's kind of wearing on us, burning me out a little bit, but we're going to get it. We're going to keep after it here. We're going to make something happen. I put some mounts in the front of this thing. They're not pictures of beauty, but they work. They're going to work all right, I think, for what we're doing. I feel like spending too much time on mounts for the body is probably a waste, because if we roll it over, they're going to be destroyed. So, but we want to make them decent. So I put a couple to hold the front of the cab up there. I put a couple on the front of the doghouse. We bolted the doghouse down here, one existing bolt. Bevy had some black plastic at work, some stuff they machined, and it works great as a spacer, and it's kind of a shock absorber, so we use that to shim it out just a little bit. Got a couple bolts in the back of the cab here to hold it, so that's all right. The next thing we need to do, we need to put the bed sides on, and that's going to be a job. Bed side is on. It's not mounted completely. We got it kind of held on. We made a mount on the top. We got to make about 3 more mounts for it before we're done hanging that side. But it sure does look good. Stuff like this just takes a lot of time. There's some of our spacers coming in there. See, we got it held up with wood in the back, but we'll get that mount finished up. We're gonna hang the front of the other bed side and then figure out how we're gonna raise that rear mount here eventually. Alright, we got everything mocked up on this thing right now. We got a tailgate here, as you saw. It's pretty cool. I just don't know if it's worth putting on it to go get ripped off. We're gonna probably build it to where we can put it on. But at the same time, depending on what it's going to do, it'd be awful shame to have that nice tailgate on there. So, Bevy's a big help with this. Tomorrow night, we got to build brackets. We got to raise this up right here so that it gets a hold of the bed side, so we can take those spacers we got in there out for right now. And then eventually, we got to raise those front two up. For right now, just to get it to the first deal, we're going to try to just raise the back up and make a couple more mounts for the front up there. So, I think it's turning out well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this thing. 69 dots, got a lot of character. I like it.